Good morning, SBC. Great to bring you today's Midweek Moment. I'm going to be speaking about kingdom perspective. And so I have this string, and pretend this string is the mark of our life and all the things we achieve in our lives. And so we start out our life. In our lives, we learn to crawl, and then we learn to walk and eat solids, and then we learn to talk, and eventually we end up going to preschool and going to normal school so we can learn languages and maths, and then we go to high school so we can learn all the things we're going to need for when we leave school, and then we go to university, some of us. And then we, with all the stuff that we learned in all this part of our lives, we end up finding a great job. And the reason why we do that is because we want a great family. We want 5 kids and we need to support them. And we need at least 3 cars in the family so that everyone has a car that they can drive. And, you can go on and then you earn lots of money in this part of your life so that when you get to retirement, it is a relaxing and fun and nice and awesome retirement. And that is a brilliant way to spend your life. Meanwhile, kingdom perspective says that this black part that was in my hand the whole time, colored in black, this is actually what our lives are like. And this white part is what eternity is like. And we spend so much time focusing on this black part, when this part is the part that matters, because this is the part that exponentially goes on and on forever. This part lasts for a short time, but what we do in this part affects this part. So, if we're spending time focusing on things that are only going to benefit this part of our lives, it's not going to affect anything in this part of our life. And pretend the string goes all the way around the world, because this is what eternity is. It goes on and on compared to this little piece of black part. But if we change our perspective and start thinking of the world from the white part, from eternity, from when we get removed from this world, it changes everything for this black part. It changes everything for how we work, how we live, and how we play. And some of the thoughts I had was, one, for parenting. If our perspective is just for this, our parenting will be maybe very shallow. We will only be focusing on making sure our kids are good so that they can get a good education, end school, end university, get a good job so they can have lots of money one day. Or we focus on ourselves and spending so much time to work so that we can leave a good inheritance for our children. Meanwhile, if we focus on this eternity, we realize that what's important in this life is that our kids learn to know who the Lord is, that our kids are bold in Him, so that they can essentially extend this black part for themselves as well, in terms of showing the love of Christ to other people just like we want to do. And so there's a vital importance of raising our kids in the ways of the Lord, in that it actually extends this part of the life, that other people can hear the good news as well. But also it changes what's important. We stop focusing on the things like things that are only going to benefit in this life, and we start focusing on the things that are going to benefit in this part of our lives, the eternity part. I think about our work life as well. It's important that we work. It's important that we earn a living. It's important that we support our families. It's important that we're wise with our money. But at the same time, if we spend all of our time and effort just focusing on this, then all of that time and effort was wasted when we think of eternity. But there's a scripture that I want to read, and it says, "For this light momentary affliction is preparing for us an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison." So what's being prepared in this part is way better in this part. So why do we spend so much time focusing on this part when we should be spending this part focusing on this part? Does that make sense? I really hope so. It says that there will be glory beyond all comparison as we look not to things that are seen, not to the things in this part of our lives, but to the things that are unseen, the kingdom, seeking first God's kingdom and His righteousness. For the things that are seen are transient, but the things that are unseen are eternal. The things that are seen are temporary. The things that are on this world will pass away. But the one thing that will go on and on forever is eternity, is our life with the Lord. And so I want to encourage you today in this midweek moment. Let's take a moment to think, what are the things that are unnecessary that we are doing that's wasting time in this part of our lives that doesn't affect this part? There are some things that are important, don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of things that we focus on or we do that has no benefit for this part. But if we think about this part of eternity, it changes our perspective on this. And so, what do we need to do differently in this part of our lives? Maybe it's in your workplace. Maybe it's a difference in the way we relate to people. Maybe one day when this whole lockdown is over, it's going to be inviting people into your homes more so that they can see how you live your life out in the faith. So let that be encouragement to you today. Let's focus on this part rather than this part, so that this part may affect this part.